Get ready to tune in, turn back the dial, and rediscover the airwaves of yesteryear. This is Echoes from the Past, your backstage pass to the shows that changed everything.
You know, the phrase "words at war" really captures the essence of this incredible anthology series. It wasn't just a collection of war stories. It was, as they called it, a living record of World War II. And when you listen to these broadcasts, what's striking is how raw, how deeply personal they feel. They weren't just about tanks and battleships. They were about people, the lives touched, and the choices made in the heat of history. One of the standout episodes for me, and I think for a lot of listeners, is Brave Men. This one aired just days after the writer Ernie Pyle was killed. The episode was based on his last book, and listening to it, you can sort of feel the weight of his words, like he knew these were final thoughts he wanted to leave behind. It's haunting, really. And then there's The Last Days of Sevastopol. This one, wow, it just plunges you right into the grit and the fear of a city under siege. But what gets me is how the voices, the dialogue, feel so alive. Like you're sitting right beside these people, hearing their stories firsthand. The team behind Words at War didn't shy away from tough subjects or brutal realities. It's almost like they dared listeners to look away. I remember the first time I stumbled across Words at War. It was during one of those late-night radio browsing sessions. One of those where you're kind of half dozing, you know? And suddenly, there it was. This voice, this story pulling me in. I couldn't turn it off. That curiosity, that absolute magnetism these episodes had, it just stuck with me ever since. And these episodes aren't just history lessons. They're a testament to the power of storytelling. To take something as massive, as overwhelming as a world war, and break it down into something human. That's not easy. But Words at War managed it in a way that's, well, unforgettable. So if we step outside the traditional depictions of war, the guns, the chaos on the battlefield, this series really stands out for its ability to tell the stories happening behind the scenes, you know? Take Prisoner of the Japs, for example. It dives into the experiences of an American journalist caught in the whirlwind of war in the Pacific. But what's fascinating is, it's less about the battles themselves and more about resilience, the mental warfare, and the human spirit that refuses to break. You can feel the tension between survival and despair in every scene. Then there's, they call it Pacific, which delves deep into the complexities of the Pacific Front, sure, but also shines a light on logistics, strategy, and the raw grit of the people battling not just an enemy, but an unforgiving environment. It's a perspective we don't, see all that often, where the tropics themselves kind of become the antagonist. And the series didn't stop at stories from the front lines. I mean, the tales of underground resistance, secret missions, or even everyday life on the home front, they're all there. Episodes like these helped paint this really comprehensive picture of World War II, like a patchwork quilt that highlights so much more than just battles. It's diplomacy, espionage, and survival, all wrapped into these, gripping narratives that stay with you. Listener reviews often reflect on how the episodes feel both educational and emotional. Someone described the series as a living history, something that doesn't just tell, but shows in the most vivid way possible. I think that's what resonates with listeners. It doesn't lecture. It lets you experience the fear, the bravery, and the sheer determination of those times. These episodes, they remind us of the countless untold stories, the ones that wouldn't make the headlines but matter just as much. And in doing so, they've created this kind of timeless archive of voices, each one echoing back to us the complexities of a world at war. When we look at Words at War, it's kind of astonishing to think about the legacy it's left behind. These stories, recorded at a time when the events were still fresh, are more than just broadcasts. They're a bridge between generations, letting us step into the mindset of those who lived through one of history's most transformative periods. And the fact that they're still appreciated today, that's something really powerful. Platforms like Radio Memories Network have truly opened the doors for global audiences to revisit material like this. It takes a lot of effort to digitize and preserve these old radio dramas, ensuring they don't just fade away into obscurity. But the payoff is clear. It's not just historians or collectors tuning in. It's younger listeners, too, rediscovering what these narratives mean in the context of today's world. And honestly, it all comes down to the power of storytelling, doesn't it? Stories have this unique way of preserving pieces of who we are, our triumphs, our failures, and everything in between. They make history relatable, and this series is proof of that. It's not hard to draw a line from these heartfelt sketches of World War II to the modern podcast we listen to now. I mean, it's the same heart, the same drive to connect with an audience, to inform and inspire. What's even more exciting is how tools like AI are enhancing how we tell stories today. Through better audio restoration, smoother editing, and personalized content delivery, we're finding new ways to bring stories to life. It's not that the essence of storytelling has changed. It's just that we have new, innovative ways to share it with the world. And that, I think, is the real legacy we're talking about. Words at War may have started as a wartime project, but it's become so much more. A reminder of how storytelling anchors us, whether it's through the crackle of an old radio or the polished sounds of a podcast. On that note, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the airwaves of the past. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the classic radio shows that shaped generations and left a lasting legacy. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode of Echoes from the Past. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to share it with fellow fans of history, storytelling, and vintage radio magic. Until next time, keep your dial set to the golden era and let the echoes of the past remind us of the timeless power of radio.